So we're staying with a women's topic, but switching sports because world number 3 Jamaica have a 1-0 lead in their 3-test Margaret Beckford Sunshine Series after winning Game 1, 55-47 against world number 5 South Africa at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston on Saturday. The Sunshine Girls had to come from 2 goals down to tie 12-all at the end of the first quarter. However, player of the match, Shimona Jacques, on her return to international duty, shot 38 from 39 attempts, while Shanice Beckford added 11 from 12 to lead the home team to a comfortable 8-goal victory. Captain Shamira Sterling Humphrey was happy for the win.
It was really good. Not the way we wanted to finish. We wanted to finish much stronger. So we'll be looking at that in training to come back again Wednesday with a stronger win. We're looking on to limit our turnovers, especially when it comes on to the end of a quarter. We need to be going up rather than going down, and we need to take care of the turnovers because we want to be hitting about 15 and below for turnovers for the entire game.
Meanwhile, the South Africa head coach, Jenny Van Dijk, saw many positives despite the result.
I'm actually quite happy with the result. You know, the previous 2 encounters against the Jamaican Sunshine Girls, we lost by 18 or 19 points. And today it's only by 8 points. So I think it's a 10-point improvement, which to me is the step in the right direction. There's a lot that we have to work on. Everything that is fixable at this stage. There's a few things that we need to change and a few adaptations we need to work on. But I think, you know, the fight and the fighting spirit to bring themselves back at a stage we were 12 down, to bring ourselves back into that game the whole time, is really a few positives that I'm taking out of this. And, you know, a few tweaks here and there, and obviously we need to get a little bit more of a verticaler there at the back, but we do have a few plans still.
Yeah, so not all that disappointed in the defeat. Van Dijk, the South Africa coach, the Proteas had won the under-21 match by a big margin, defeating the Jamaica Young Sunshine Girls 61-31. So that was a massive victory for the young Proteas against the Young Sunshine Girls. But among the seniors, the Jamaicans were dominant. As we heard Shamira Sterling say, the captain of the Jamaica team, not as dominant as they had wanted to be, but a win is a win, and they're hoping that they can get a more pronounced victory in Wednesday's second match. Previewing the game on Friday, when we had the 2 England-born players, Rhea Dixon and Brierson, in studio, they were looking ahead to this. Ricardo, what do you think about their performances? I think Dixon had more playing time than Brierson did, but both of them acquitted themselves well, Dixon not on debut, but Brierson on debut for the Jamaica team.
Yeah, I think that Rhea Dixon showed from the England series that she is quality and she will add a lot to this Sunshine Girls unit. She gets herself into some really good positions to receive the ball and make passes inside the shooting circle. And I think that is really good. And Grasser, I think, is pretty similar. So I think, as we've all said, they will add depth to the Sunshine Girls unit. And that's really good. Now, I'm not completely happy, Lance and Mariah, with the performance on Saturday. But let me start with the positives. 1, the Sunshine Girls won, and that is important. That's where you want to start. And 2, very pleased that fans of netball in Jamaica got the opportunity to see the brilliance of Shimona Jacques, because she was player of the match and 38 goals from 39 attempts, quite clinical. That's what you want from your goal shooter. And also she had some amazing catches inside the circle as well. There were a few times when I was wondering, wait, is this Shimona Jacques or Janelle Fowler-Nemhard? So I thought she was really good, and it was a great way for her to reintroduce herself to fans of Jamaica netball, because we've spoken about her playing in the Australian Suncorp League and we see the results week in, week out, but it's a different thing to see her up close and personal, and for the fans to get that opportunity. So those were the positives. The negatives for me, though, the 8-goal margin, a little bit disappointed. I expected a much bigger margin of victory against South Africa. And I think the captain, Shamira Sterling, hit the nail on the head. One of the issues affecting this Jamaican unit, and I think it also showed up in the England series as well, is that I don't find we take care of the ball well enough at the back end of quarters, especially quarters where we're either behind and we rally and get close, or we find ourselves ahead. I think there's quite often, and I don't think it is a fitness issue. In the past, I think it used to be a fitness issue. Now, I'm thinking it is just an issue of focus and remaining composed in those moments. And this is a team that has the ability to remain composed in big moments. And we saw it against England, but the fact is we also saw on too many occasions where they had smaller leads than they should have, or no lead at all, or being behind further than they should have because they are not taking care of the ball at the back end of the quarters. And I'm happy that Shamira Sterling has realized it and acknowledged it.
Yeah, and you expect that to change as we go into the second match. It takes place on Wednesday.
Well, I think as they play more matches and clearly they're cognizant of it, so I think that's where it starts. And as they play more matches, I think it will get better. I think also one of the things that we do have to realize is you're coming off an England series where it was Romelda Aiken who was in the shooting circle. And then now you have Shimona Jacques. The team has also become very accustomed to Janelle Fowler over the years. And yes, there are 3 world-class shooters, but they play differently. For example, with Romelda, you saw, for example, in the England series, initially, a lot of the players were hesitant in getting the ball quickly inside the circle to Romelda. As they became more confident throughout the course of the series, it became a lot easier. So those small differences they have to work through from time to time. But I still expected a wider margin of victory in this game. And I think generally there was a hint of complacency, because a lot of the turnovers I saw in some of the moments I saw them, I don't think those turnovers would have happened against better opposition. I think it was a case of, well, maybe we're going to beat this South Africa team anyhow. So let's try some new things. Let's see if we can get the ball up court a little bit quicker than we usually would.
High-risk plays.
High-risk plays that in other cases they would slow the ball down, slow the play down, and take their time getting into the shooting circle.
Yeah, I want to focus a little bit too, though, on the shooting accuracy, because you pointed out Shimona Jacques' return to international competition for Jamaica. Shanice Beckford has always been a high percentage shooter, 11 from 12, and Jacques 38 from 39. But one of the assets, I think, Shimona Jacques carries is her agility, because at 6 feet 5 inches tall, a lot of athletes at that height aren't as agile as she is. And I think the centre court players and the players feeding the balls into the circle for her are confident that she has that kind of agility to snatch the balls and make good on the plays.
Yeah, and that is so important. And let's not forget, the first time that Shimona Jacques played for Jamaica, she was Shimona Nelson at the time. She was still in high school, and she played against Barbados. She didn't get a lot of playing time, but the one thing that stood out is that in every single game she played in that Barbados series, she was the most accurate Jamaican shooter, despite the fact that she was being pushed around at the time by more experienced Barbadian defenders. So that is very much expected of her. One of the things, for example, when I listen to coaches and analysts speak about Romelda Aiken, they say she is the best rebounder in the world.
Offensive rebounder.
Offensive rebounder. I would usually say, well, if you don't miss, there's no need to rebound.
Yeah.
No, credit to Romelda. She's brilliant at cleaning up her own misses. But I've had issues a lot of times with just how much Romelda misses, especially in very good positions. Don't get me wrong. Romelda is world class. She's one of the very best in the world. She's done magnificently for Jamaica. But give me a choice at this stage, and Shimona Jacques is always going to be my choice because of her age, as you pointed out, her agility, her shooting accuracy. And I think within the Jamaica setup, they have to be thinking to themselves that when you get to the next World Cup in 2027, you're going to have Romelda and Janelle Fowler well into their 30s, close to 40. And then you're going to have Shimona Jacques, who is just about getting up to 30 and likely in her prime. Who do you think is going to lead the line at the next World Cup? And so, to me, you need to be positioning Shimona Jacques for that job from now. And yes, of course, as Shimona said in our interview, the work still has to be put in. But from the coach's standpoint, for me, she has to be the player that you're looking to say, yeah, you'll lead the line at the next World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course the second game of the series will be live on SportsMax on Wednesday evening, as the first one was on Saturday. Game 2 of the Margaret Beckford Sunshine Series at the National Indoor Sports Centre. 7 o'clock local time, 8 o'clock Eastern Caribbean time on Wednesday. Still to come on the SportsMax Zone, we have our second set of zone updates with Ram Harak and JPL football as well as interactive. Back in a moment.